哎，你好嘛？我们是中国现在 China Now with Nansu and Michael Olson and you. Thank you for joining us today. We're from our perch here at santacruzvoice.com. We're looking across that broad expanse of the Pacific Ocean and looking at the events over the past month that occurred in China and around the Southeast Asia area. And we're asking, what it means, all of the things that we've been seeing. A lot of rumors flying. And so we kind of look at those and what do they mean? And when you look at China, it's really hard to see anything because it's very hard to see because they only want you to see what they want you to see. And they hide everything else. And they do a very good job of it because they are in total control of the media. Nansu, I see where the Epoch Times has been refused, where there was a big Asiana conference of the Southeast Asia people. And I guess they turned Epoch Times away. So that's the kind of control they're exerting over the media. For some reason, they don't like the Epoch Times at the Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah, that's
Think they'll get
always the
over it?
case.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's always the case.
Yeah,
Yeah, under the pressure, right? It
yeah.
used to be here in the even in the United States, there are some many scenarios we would not welcome. As long as a part of the event it will be joined by the CCP, then we are usually got kicked out from the list of the media who can join the event.
Wow, lose your credentials when the CCP shows up. Well, October, so we've been looking at the events. We started September 3rd at the Great Big Lie Victory Parade in Tiananmen Square, in which Xi Jinping appears to have emerged unscathed by all of the rumors that people were throwing at him from all over the world. And then October 20 to 23, he also emerged from that with all three of his titles. So, in spite of all of the rumors that everybody hears and everybody spreads around, like me, I guess, Xi Jinping is apparently, nominally at least, still in charge of all three of his positions, which are,
Yeah, which I think that Xi Jinping is trying to, pave the way for his fourth term on 2027, and he's working hard on that. Now that he has some difficulties. Now he's not losing his power, but if he want to continue his power, he may have certain difficulties to overcome, taking consideration of China's economic situation getting worse every day. So I think that's where his difficulties are laying ahead of him. He want to go back to the fundamentalist communist principles, but there is a physical reality there. He may not be able to, because all different level of Communist Party organizations, they have a problem now. They don't know how to deal with their physical conditions right now. So they owe so much money, so much debt, and they struggle to keep all the government employees paid basically right now. So that's the headache every day for them to deal with. So now either Xi Jinping, I don't see any possibility at all. I do not see any possibility at all for a military coup. Okay, if anybody wants to think about that, let them think about it. That's the
so you
strategic
don't see a
mistake.
possibility of a military coup,
That's right.
period.
Well, now, but I do see there are certain difficulties right there
Let me ask you this,
facing
Nansu.
Xi Jinping
Do you think,
for his effort to continue into the fourth term in
okay,
2027.
okay. Do you think if Xi Jinping decided tomorrow morning to invade Taiwan, that his military would do as he told them? Do you think they would follow orders?
I say many times, okay, first of all, uh, Chinese military will not invade Taiwan until the last minute, when they facing tremendous internal trouble. Okay,
Okay.
so when they have internal, tremendous internal trouble against the party, CCP's
They'll do
ruling,
whatever they need to do to save the
they
party.
will need to they will have to do whatever they need to, and the most possible thing, the choice for them is to invade Taiwan, and then I don't think they were going to occupy they will even try to make effort to occupy Taiwan's May Island. Most likely they're just going to take a couple small islands, and that's very close to China's coastal line, so that they create this opposition between China and the United States, and its allies like South Korea, Japan, the Philippines, and the entire Western world. And
No.
then they will, once this opposition of two sides are created, China will be used that as a that Xi Jinping will, or whoever, it's not only Xi Jinping, whoever after him will be the same way. Okay, so they will use the opposition as an excuse to activate the martial law to control the country. It will be too much of a risk for them to try to invade the main
Taiwan.
island,
Yeah.
of Formosa. But however, it's an essential now for Japan, United States, Taiwan, and South Korea and the Philippines to
Gun
make
up.
to really prepare their military strengths. That's the key. Only when we all fully prepared, and then Xi Jinping sees there's too much risk for him to make that effort, then he will stop. Otherwise, he will do whatever. And the reason, it's very simple. Generations of Chinese people has been brainwashed that they truly believe Taiwan is a part of the CC, the People's Republic of China,
No.
the communist country. They all believe Taiwan is a province of Chinese Communist Party, so it controlled China. So they don't need to do that. It doesn't really take much work for the CCP to to mobilize, to make people believe, because if you're going to a war, you have to make everybody believe you're going to a war,
You're gonna
with a
win. Yeah.
no, going to a war with the right cause, right?
Yeah. Right.
You have to convince the people. That's the very first step. So you don't have that. Nobody, even Communist Party, I don't think they will be able to actually do that. So now, but it doesn't take them any effort at all, pretty much. It's a little effort to make people believe, oh, they're doing the right thing. In fact, I don't think they even need to give any notice for the no advance notice to anybody. They can start attacking those islands, and then just notice the people, and nobody will blame them in China because they're all brainwashed.
There you go. It's really interesting. For the last 250 some shows that we've done, I've always maintained that the only thing that will keep us from going to war with the CCP is that if the CCP goes belly up. And you suggest that is the reason we will go to war with
Yeah,
China.
yeah,
Is
that's
that,
what. Oh, that's all. I always say that
yeah,
CCP will not attack Taiwan until the very near the end of its ruling power.
yeah,
So you look at Chairman Mao. Chairman Mao, they talk about taking Taiwan, his entire life, but he
yeah,
never did. right? He never did. And Xi Jinping is going to Chairman Mao.
There it is.
So it's too much of a risk. It's always, it's not a sovereignty issue. It's, people often look at that because they want it, it's not, they don't need that, they live just fine. They
Yeah,
don't need the Taiwan. All they need, the number one priority for the CCP, it's always to keep its own ruling power. So you
yeah,
have to always thinking of that. And otherwise, and all of the, and that's how Xi Jinping, united the whole party, and then he's using all these threat, it's like anti-corruption,
right.
anti-this group, that group. It's the only thing he is able to, the only reason in that
Yeah.
he is being able to do that.
Well, if boy, if either one of us, so I say, well, the only thing that will keep us to going to war with Taiwan is that if the CCP goes belly up. But Nansu suggests that is what will lead us to war with the CCP. Now, things are not looking very good in the Chinese economy right now. The CCP has been not doing a very good job of promoting a healthy economy.
That's
As a,
right. And
as a matter of
that's why I keep saying time is coming. Time is coming. We need to, use every minute that we have to really, make our military fully prepared and fully equipped. That's very important. Fully equipped to fight. To
because you must therefore think that the economy, Chinese economy, is going to collapse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's why, that's why I always say the next, before 2030, let me say this, before 2030, we are living in the most dangerous time window that we're going to have a war before 2030.
Because that
After 2030, that the possibility of a war will start going down. Now after I will say after 2035, a lot of people say, oh, 2049, that's communist Chinese communist regime's 100-year anniversary. That will be the time. I say no, no, no. After 2035, there's no possible. It's impossible for them to start a war because you take two major factors. Number one, trying to imagine how the Chinese economy is going to be after 2035, right? It
and
took
the other is
Japan 30
population.
years.
Yeah.
It took Japan 30 years to get out that real estate bubble. And China is a lot worse, right? And also, the population going down, the Chinese population aging really fast right now because of their early, one-child policy. So after that two factors combined together after 2035, it's impossible, to for them to actually start a war in the Western Pacific. So the most dangerous time is now, and then as the time goes by, the risk will actually go down little by little, little
Okay.
by little.
So
So
what we here in the United States should do is pay particular attention to the Chinese economy, because when we see that economy start to crumble and the foundation of
it's
the
already
it's
crumbled. It's
crumbling.
already
Yeah.
crumbled, right? So the problem for us is see, we need to just look at not just the economy, it's really the social conflict. Those are two factors here for Chinese communist regime to lose power. Number one, it's, of course, it's economy. Now, number two, it's the how the going down economy it's going to do to how the society respond to the condition, right? Now, don't uh, now keep in mind that in the communist countries, people very hard for them to to just rise up against the regime. You look at all the entire communist history. it's very hard for the people to rise up, the society, the grassroots level, to do that. So now, at, on this way, when the China's economy going down, we need to, closely monitor what happened inside the society of China, see how the mass uh, movement that people start, reacting the control of Chinese Communist Party. Now, if they never rise up, this thing can last for a very, very long time. Now, keep in mind what kind of situation, economic situation, and the living condition the former Soviet Union people lived when the former Soviet Union
What they
people.
put up with is incredible.
Yeah, they put up in the incredible extent, right? So that's how you there's two factors, you have to closely watch. One, the economy going down, we're already seeing it. It will
Yeah.
continue to go down. And now how the people reacted to it is different and whole different set of factors. The today's China is quite different than the former Soviet Union because that's the two it's like a polarized situation between the Soviet Union and the United States, and then the people quite isolated in the former Soviet Union. Today's China, people see a lot about how the Western world live, the people live in the Western world. So it's very hard.
Don't you think that Taiwan is setting a bad example for the CCP's people?
It is. It is. That's why they don't allow they don't allow the travel groups to go to Taiwan anymore, right? So right now they try to they put a lot of effort to limit the tour groups to Taiwan. Now and not they still allow, I believe, but they cut it down a lot. People nowadays in China, they see a lot of things how people live in the Western world. So what's the so but however, there's another thing here. The most of the people who travel to the Western world from China, who travel to Taiwan, those are the people belong to the elite group. They are the group with a lot of money, right?
Right?
Now, are they
Oh,
going to? Yeah, see,
and
see,
where do they get their money? From the CCP, right?
oh,
Okay.
see, all this thing goes around, around, around.
Yeah.
There's always two sides, so that's why
So it's really the social contract that we should watch carefully as well. Now, this past week, there was a betel nut riot in Hainan that really caught the attention of Xi Jinping. I think, as a matter of fact, he flew back from APAC early
Mhm.
to take care of this riot because it appeared to be getting out of control. So those are and what happened. Well, a state-owned enterprise moved into a farm village, chopped down all of the villagers' betel nut trees just when they're ready for harvest, and said, "This is we're a state-owned enterprise. We own this, and you don't." And that's that. And that caused a significant event with respect to the people uh, rioting, throwing things, turning cars over, raising all kinds of havoc. And that's the social contract that we should really pay attention to, just like the CCP is paying really close attention to it as well.
Yeah, so that's why, there's a it's a complex situation. Uh but whatever, however we are going to come draw the conclusion, it's way to be seen. But the first thing first, it's always, we need to strengthen our
Yep.
military. So that's always, if we let that go, then the war is basically unavoidable. But if we have,
The
if
weaker
we
we
are
are,
prepared.
the weaker we are, the more certain it is we're going to get into a war with
That's
China.
right. That's right. And also we need to, do a lot of a push for our allies,
Yeah.
like the Philippines, Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, all these countries. We need to push them to make their military ready. So that's the number one thing to defend the peace. And then we need to closely monitor the the conditions, social conditions in the society. How, see how they respond and see how they respond. Because those people, keep in mind, although a lot of people in China, they see what's going on in the Western world, but it's less likely, the group who travel to outside of China actually they are the it's not it's
They're
less
the ones
likely
with
they
money,
are the
right?
ones to rebel, right? They are not a group
Yeah.
most likely to rebel against CCP. So they are just holding those are the groups that are just holding where they already have, right? So now the problem is, the grassroots, they never had a chance to go out. They are most likely the ones that's going to go against the CCP. So you have to look at all these factors in the different ways to make an assessment to see how close we are to the war.
So it should be pretty simple. The more things are falling apart in China, the more likelihood we're going to go to war.
That's right. That's right.
Hmm. Wow. With that in mind, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to go to South Korea and join Xi and Trump at the table. Going to be very interesting. So do stay tuned. This is China Now, and we will be right back after these messages.
Cannabis is one of nature's most beneficial plants, and at Treehouse Dispensary, we use it to build community. In addition to dispensing cannabis and education, Treehouse hosts First Friday events every month that feature our community's local artists, makers, and activists. If you're 21 plus, join us at 3651 Soquel Drive every First Friday from 5 to 8 p.m. to enjoy the work of local artists and musicians, find one-of-a-kind gifts, and learn more about the top cannabis products in California. See you soon.
It's time now to repair or replace your roof. Hi, folks. Warren Knox here of Knox Roofing. Well, we install leak-proof and fire-proof roofs. Roofs that look nice with a lot of choices of colors and styles. Gutters, skylights, insulation, and roof decks. We only install proven products with warranties unmatched by anybody. Financing is always available, and we have discounts for veterans and seniors. Do business with Knox Roofing, and you'll also receive a free Knox Garden Box. The number to call again is 831-461-0634. Thanks, folks.
Want to learn more about what it takes to succeed as a business or nonprofit? Then hear from those that have. Join Tam and Susan O'Connor Fraser on Think Local First Radio, Fridays at 1 p.m. on Santa Cruz Voice.
From sommeliers to comedians, Tai Chi master to happy centenarian, on Go Ahead and Tell Me, we meet the people who turn passion into purpose. Every voice, every craft, one conversation at a time. 1 p.m. Thursdays, SantaCruzVoice.com.
11/11 is Thank a Veteran Day. You can thank your local veterans by visiting VFW Post 7263's Veterans Day open house from 3 to 7 at 2259 7th Avenue in Santa Cruz. Meet and greet the veterans. Enjoy food, drinks, live music from the Joe Bland Band, and have a look around the VFW Hall. We do owe them a thanks, so drop by the VFW Hall on 7th Avenue during Veterans Day and thank a vet.喂的，来的。我们是中国现在 China Now with Nansu and Michael Olson. Right now, we're heading off to last week in South Korea at the APEC summit. Nansu, how long have we been talking about Donald Trump and Xi Jinping getting together for a conversation? Mano y mano talk. Been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. See, remember, it was like when Donald Trump actually won his election in 2024, he
Yeah.
actually, the second day or the third day, I forgot, he openly invited Xi Jinping to come to his inauguration, right?
Yeah, didn't happen, but he
Right,
tried.
it's more than a year,
Yeah.
basically, So now it's more than a year. We've been talking about that. So finally, they met on October 30th, 31st. I forgot it was 30 or
October
31st.
30th.
30th, right?
Yeah. And
So
it was especially auspicious time because uh, they met not at a fancy hotel. They met at a military air base in South Korea, right?
yeah, yeah, it's not even a military base. It's an airport. So
Airport.
they
Yeah.
it's a building right at the airport. So
Right.
they found based on the South Korea news, the U.S. government only noticed South Korea government like a couple days ahead. They say, oh, we're going to just meet in that in that building. So no, they're going to meet. They're going to meet, and then they scramble to find the office building of belong to airport. So basically, it's a very simple setup. The two sides just drove there, and they met, and then Trump is saying things, gave kind of a warm greeting to Xi Jinping, and Xi Jinping just smile and say nothing. Like that's why I'm calling him as like a smiling timber or
Yeah,
smiling
the
tree or
smiling
whatever.
tree, the smiling tree.
The
Well,
smiling tree.
yeah, Trump said on a scale of 1 to 10, it was a 12. So that's a Trumpism for you for sure. Um, but, the interesting thing that caught my attention right away, and subsequent commentators noted it as well, was the fact that Xi Jinping appeared to grow 4 inches because when they met and they shook hands, Xi Jinping was as tall as Donald Trump.
Yeah, I think that Xi Jinping's walking on that's what usually happened. He walk with those high heels, but for man's not for women. So
So he
he,
has elevator shoes on that
yeah,
hike him
some,
up 4 inches.
yeah. I don't know if it's 4 inches, but I don't know how they do it, but they can elevate
Yeah.
himself. There was a rumor saying that's a fake Xi Jinping, right? I heard that.
Well, that was another rumor I was going to put on the table that
Yeah. Well, people love to make rumors about Xi Jinping. The Xi Jinping is because people hate him, right? Nobody likes him.
well, I
Um,
I think I think that when you or anyone totally controls the news, and that when you say I have the only source of news that you can listen to or believe in, then everybody has the perfect right to pass rumors and speculate. I
right,
mean,
right, right. Well,
so
that's the way it is, right?
yeah, it's
Uh,
just the way it is.
yeah, that's what it is. Now Xi Jinping, well, let's just say this, Joseph Stalin may do that, but I don't think Xi Jinping is going to do that because I believe because you look at the entire history of CCP, they never use that strategy.
What do you mean,
That
elevator shoes?
No, that use a fake replacement of
Oh,
themselves.
okay, okay.
Like yeah.
A body
Hitler
double.
did it. Hitler did it. That there was things. There are people saying Joseph Stalin did it, but in the entire history of CCP,
I
I
haven't
can't.
seen that one.
I have not seen that they play that trick. So
Well, let's go to inside that little building on that military base. and that had been dressed up with, drapes, had color for curtains and whatnot. And you had
Mm-hmm.
kind of a long table, not too long. On one side sat the CCP delegation, and on the other side sat the Trump delegation, our delegation. And they looked right across this very narrow table at each other. They were only 3 feet apart, if that. So, and what really captured my attention was the fact that Xi Jinping was reading from a script. And the script was writ large in Chinese characters. It was almost like cartoon characters in a funny book or something. And Xi Jinping was slumped over and reading it. And on the other side of the table, Donald Trump was looking at him, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And,
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
Trump was without guile. I mean,
of course, Trump is a businessman, right?
yeah,
Now
he's a
it's
poker player, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Xi Jinping, it's again, he's a fundamental ideologist, right, of communism, the fundamentalist in communism. So, I don't think he actually really truly mastered that economic or trade negotiation. In other words, he doesn't know what he's talking about, and this is not the first time. I mean, there are several scenarios in the previous international news conference, or meeting with foreign leaders, and after meeting, they will, go see the media, and the media caught all the media asking questions Xi Jinping doesn't know, and then he will just pull out his like small notebook. His and some one scenario, he couldn't answer the question. He actually even just answer the question. Say, let me see if it's I have any notes in my in my notebook. That's embarrassed, But hey, that's what this guy is. He's everything he knows, it's that's what this hardline communist is,
Yeah.
fundamental communist, the guy, and the only thing he know is to to keep the fundamental ideology of communism.
Well, as they sat across from each other and Trump looked at Xi Jinping, it was the single most, because it looked to me like Trump was trying to figure out if this really was Xi Jinping. He had that, I mean, he was actually leaning forward over the table, looking at Xi Jinping. Are you really Xi Jinping?
Well, I think Trump is trying to look at see the symptoms, which because a lot of rumors about Xi Jinping's health, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's what Trump is looking for. Uh, that if Xi Jinping has any, health issues, because the rumors is all, just I talk about this many, many times. The only thing I believe that the rumor I will believe, or I tend to believe, the only reason that will explain to me there's a reasonable way for Xi Jinping to lose his power is his health situation.
Health. Yeah, of course. Now, the Epoch Times made note of the same thing, and they quoted Trump as saying, and Trump is talking about the opposition on the other side of the table. And he's referring to Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping's got 6 people on each side, and every one of those people were standing like this at attention. And I made a comment to one of them, got no response. I said, "Are you going to answer me?" Got no response. President Xi didn't let him have any. That's what Trump said. And then he went on to say, I said, "I want my cabinet to behave like that," Trump said. Everybody started laughing. "I want them sitting up like, just nice and straight. I've never seen posture like that. I've never seen men so scared in their lives." And so there it is. they're frightened. They're not going to make a single mistake. And Trump was seen whispering things in Xi Jinping's ear and getting no response other than the smile, you know. Um, so it was kind of like, okay, I don't think they really connected at all there. I mean, I did not see any warmth. I didn't see any loving handshakes as two erstwhile competitors would make after the ball game's over. You know, I didn't see anything, any connection there, non,
Between who and who?
between Trump and Xi Jinping.
Well, Trump, Trump, they had a handshake,
They had a
right?
handshake.
And Trump put a big smile, and he was, joking, and then he was,
But Trump was,
Trump
yes.
is normal, right? Trump was
Yeah.
completely normal, and the Xi Jinping, I think he's worried that because it's got so much international attention of for what's going on because they are the ones they trying to have these rare earth control that basically make everybody angry, right? So so I think they are the ones they know how much trouble they're in and they know how much challenge they are facing in the in the Chinese economy. So they're being very, very careful not to make any mistake. They know the international media will love to talk about all the teas about Xi Jinping.
Oh. Well, you brought up a very interesting point that Scott Bessent has been bringing up too, in that Xi Jinping made a big mistake in playing the rare earth cards the way he did,
Yep,
because
he
he
dig a big
has,
hole for himself.
yes, dug a big hole because he threatened every country in the world,
That's
not
right.
just the United States.
Yep. So now I think that it's very successful for Trump to delay Xi Jinping for a year to actually to impose that the control of rare earths. I don't think we need if it's pure for economic reason, they can hurt us economically by controlling the rare earths. That's easy to solve because economic is just money, right? It's just like you don't let me get money, I won't let you. So
Yeah.
that's easy to resolve. The problem is if they control the rare earths to the extent that we cannot build our defense system. That's a much bigger issue. So I think a delay of one whole year will basically make the Western world, especially the United States, to get enough material to avoid that kind of a risk.
If we can do it in 1 year,
Well,
if we can,
you don't need to do it in 1 year. You don't need to catch up. We don't have to be on the same level of a rare earth sector with China in 1 year. Well, all we need is we need to have
enough for us.
enough for our national security,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
So,
Well, the other things it's easy to solve because they want the money, we want the money. Eventually we're gonna make a deal. But the problem is, national security need to be fully
yeah.
taken
And
care of.
and it's not just national security, it's everything electronic. So it's,
And those things, it's easy. Electronic. Think about it, it's just money, right?
yeah,
It's the consumer market. If they don't ask to, they destroy our consumer market, will destroy their economy. So that's
there you
like
go.
lose
We
and
have,
lose, right? So that's easy. That's easy to be resolved because eventually, nobody wants to do that. Both sides will make a deal. But if
how
if they were able to cut off the supply of rare earths to our defense industry,
big
that's
deal.
really bad.
How is it that Xi Jinping made so many countries angry with his licensing? What
It's
was it?
well, he's basically say you need to if any product that made of outside of China that contain the value, uh, you know, like a 0.1% of the value, it's actually uh, contributed by China's rare earths that you need to um, apply permit first
It
from
has
Chinese
to
government.
ask permission.
Yeah, so that you basically put everybody,
Yeah.
0.1%, there's nothing.
So in doing that, he really, I guess, made enemies with just about every country in the world when it gets right down to it.
Yep. So and I think that Trump did a lot this time when he visited South Korea. So before he went to South Korea, no, I'm sorry, on this trip, right, to South Korea, before he even get to South Korea, he made a deal with Malaysia. Malaysia have a lot of rare earths, and I think Thailand and Cambodia, all these countries.
Yep.
Well, I don't think the source from the resource from Cambodia it's reliable, right? Because it's more or less can be controlled by the Chinese government. But Malaysia, Thailand, all these countries, and Japan too. Japan has some. They Japan start because back as China trying to sanction Japan as early as 2010 on rare earths. So Japan it's in a much more
Yep.
prepared situation than United States. So I think Trump to talk to Takaichi, the new prime minister, about that issue
Who is
too.
a friend?
Yeah, yeah.
The Iron Lady of
Lucky,
Japan.
lucky us, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, looking at the bilateral meeting between the two, Trump and Xi Jinping, I didn't sense any warmness or any "I'm so happy to see you. Let's be friends." I sense that, well, okay, we need to have a détente between the two of us at this time,
That's right.
and I'll give you some of what you want, and you give me some of what I want, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah.
we, for a year, we get some rare earths, uh, and he has agreed to stop the flow of fentanyl precursor, and he's agreed to buy some soybeans. Now, these are the things that he agreed to last time Trump met with him during his first administration,
And that's
and
right. Yeah,
and
there
none
was
of them have come through.
yeah. Well, they did it to a certain extent, but not fully, right?
Yeah,
So they agreed to purchase like what $200 billion worth. That's the phase two of trade negotiation, tariff negotiation back in 2020. China agreed to purchase $200 billion worth of agriculture products from United States, while United States dropped the tariffs for total $120 billion worth of import of China tariffs. Tariffs on $120 billion import from China from 15% to 7.5%. So, we dropped the second phase tariffs from 15 to the first phase was there, never changed. The first phase is $250 billion worth of import from China, tariffs like 25%. And then addition to that, the second phase was $120 billion worth of import from China were subject to originally 15%, then they dropped to from 15 to 7.5. In exchange, China agreed to buy $200 billion worth of agricultural farm products from United States, but China only purchased probably uh
not so
say
much.
70 billion, probably
Yeah.
70-80 billion. So but they the most more they didn't even fulfill half of their what they
Right.
promised. But
So,
but that was Biden administration. Biden just let it go.
yeah,
Biden let it go. He didn't went publish them.
come on, man. What did he say? Come on, man. They're not such bad
China is
people.
not eating our lunch.
Yeah, China's not eating. So we have a little detente going between Trump and Xi. That's good for 1 year, maybe.
Yeah, it's good.
Not
Well,
a
I don't know if that's going to good for even for 1 year. You know, tomorrow they may all change, right?
yeah, and I don't think
Actually, keep in mind, even until today, the agreement was not yet signed.
that's what I was going to say. There was nothing signed, was there?
No, not yet.
So
The agreement was made orally, and then so far has not been signed
and
formally.
so not addressed were Taiwan, Nvidia chips, or Jimmy Lai. So there was
That's right.
the hot
That's what's
button issue.
originally saying. Then they're going to discuss, but the two parties walk away from each other. They never mention all those things.
Yeah, and I think they not only walked away, but they ran away, because my sense of it was that after they agreed to whatever they agreed to, and shook hands and looked each other in the eye, Trump ran and jumped on Air Force One and flew back to Washington, D.C. to hand out Halloween candy. And Xi Jinping jumped in his Boeing 747, flew back to Beijing.
No. Xi Jinping stayed there for a couple more days.
He did stay there for a couple more
Yeah,
days.
yeah. He stayed there. He made some speech against the unilateralism or whatever. He's in the, and then the South Korea president.
Did he actually give a speech, or was it a video? I think it was a video.
He gave a speech.
Okay.
He read from his
All right.
he read from wherever, right? And then you look at the South Korea president. He put a big smile on his face, and then Xi Jinping was supposed to be to the multinational meeting, and he was purposely 15 minutes late, and then the South Korea president has been waiting there for whatever.
I think he fell off his platform shoes.
Maybe
that was one of the rumors that was going around why he was late. He fell off his platform shoes, and when you saw him walk into that meeting, he was walking pretty gingerly too. So maybe just a rumor, but he also was 4 inches shorter.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to that detail. Okay.
Yeah. So if you run across those videos, watch his height and how it changes on both of them. At any rate, there it was. That was the big meeting. And who knows? We appear to have a little detente going with the CCP for a little while, which means that the CCP is probably not going to invade Taiwan for a few minutes. And so what we have to do now is really watch.
No, well, I think they are just not up to the point yet. And plus, the U.S. government, the State Department already said that Taiwan sovereignty is not decided, right? It's like you start attacking Taiwan. It's like you're invading United States, possibly.
Yeah.
Right.
Technically, Taiwan belongs to the United States.
Yeah, that's it. Technically, that's what we already make the claim, right?
So, but we do have a détente. They did shake hands. Xi Jinping smiles, but he always smiles like he is the smiling tree. And Trump tried to figure out really what the heck is going on. And it was one of the most amazing videos I've seen of Trump, because he's totally upfront with what he's thinking. You could just seeing it. You could watch Xi Jinping reading from his notes, and he just kept waiting for Xi Jinping to look up so he could look into his eyes. Now, I think he was hiding his gaze. He was hiding his eyes. And that's one reason why I think there is some credence to the fact that there's something going on there. There really is something going on with Xi Jinping. Now, I had an experience shaking hands once with Kamala Harris. Did I tell you this story? I shook hands. It was a sad situation. A couple of police were killed here in Santa Cruz. And so a bunch of the state mucky mucks came down. Kamala Harris was one of them. She's the attorney general. And so the mucky mucks gave their speech, and there was a shaking hands line. So I went through the line, shaking the mucky mucks' hands and looking into their eyes, which is what I always do. And I looked into Kamala Harris's eyes, and she was angry. She was so angry with me. And because I looked into her eyes, I did not understand it. I dropped her hand like it was a hot iron or something and moved on down the line. But it took me 13 years later until I figured out that I was not the only one. Because the Wall Street Journal did a piece on Kamala Harris and how she treated her staff in California, went to interview people. And one of the people said, whenever Kamala Harris walked into the room, everybody was supposed to stand up and say, "Good morning, General," or "Good afternoon, General." And the other one person said she had one ironclad rule. Nobody was to look into her eyes. And I thought, wow, it wasn't just me. It's everybody. And I had a sneaking suspicion that Trump was trying to look into Xi Jinping's eyes. And if you look at the video and look at Trump and the way he's gazing and wanting, I think you'll see the same thing. And what that means, I have no idea, but there it was.
Okay. So whatever, but Xi Jinping just trying to fix his own craps. He dug a big hole, and then for the CCP jumping, so they scramble get out of it. We successfully have probably enough rare earths. And which is good. Also, I don't think it's bad things because basically, the Xi Jinping's action trying to control the whole rare earth, waking up a lot of countries, government and political leaders, and to realize what kind of challenges facing us. Yeah.
And that's the big hole he dug for the CCP, right?
Yeah, and then we better start preparing, right? Because if we don't have enough supply for our defense industry, that's it. That's a big no-no.
Well, okay, Nansu, that's our kind of a review of the last month. It's been a very eventful last month, and we end up with a little détente between China and the United States. So, which is good. At least we're not throwing hypersonic missiles at each other right now. Next week, I have a story that simply must be put on the table. And it's the story of the Cambodian pig butcher. And it's a huge story. So pig butchering next week on China Now with Nansu and Michael Olson and you. So please do stay tuned, and thank you for joining us today.